casual, yeah. That's what
you're just dead relaxed.
No, yeah, just...
No, that's fine then. My name's Callum Dolby, I'm 25 years old, and I drive a Japanese imported drift car. They say drifting is like poetry in motion. Like, it's so spectacular to just watch the car go sideways in a cloud of smoke, because it's out of control, in control, and it takes such a long amount of time to perfect that skill that it's so spectacular, and it's just, it's hard to put it into words, but it's just such a rush. Because a lot of people, they'll drive a BMW because it's a cheaper alternative. It's still front engine, rear wheel drive, it's good chassis to drive on, but whereas it doesn't have that authenticity because it's not a Japanese car, whereas the Chaser is through and through a Japanese only vehicle. So if you drive one of those in the UK, you're bringing a piece of Japan over to the UK, and that's like as close as you can get to being in Japan.
Can you?
Yeah. Do we have some nuts for the...
Yeah, that's all right.
My friend at the time just happened to be a vehicle importer, and he was constantly listing various different cars on his page, and this came up, and I just fell in love with it immediately. It was purple, it was the right spec, it was a factory manual. I got in touch with him and said, look, I love this car, how much is it? He told me the price. It was a bit more than what I was expecting to pay, because he had it up for nearly £8,000. Because no one else was interested in the car, he then said, you can have this car at cost price, which just happened to be £4,900 shipped. At the time, didn't have that money, so I cheated, I got a credit card, and I paid the importer the £5,000 for the vehicle. He then transported the car from I think it's the Ibaraki district in Japan to Yokohama, which the car was then driven onto a shipping container and then shipped from Yokohama to, I think it was Grimsby Port in the UK. So yeah, I transferred this guy some money, and then 3 months later a car magically appears at my house.
She's home! Can we get a sledgehammer out? Take dent out of the door.
How loud is it? It's incredibly loud. A lot of the neighbours tend to kick off when I used to start at 7 AM in the morning. And even in the afternoon, like 4 or 5 o'clock, I used to sit outside and rev it, and they all used to come out and complain. Honestly, it'll wake up the dead, it's that loud.
発話ボタンを押すと音声操作を継続します。あの子より私を好きだと言って会いたい会いたい会いたい会えない
There's some like really exciting like Eurobeat on here somewhere, but it's really hard to find because the whole navigation system is still in Japanese and there isn't actually any settings to change it back to English, which it's hard to navigate. I use Google Translate on my phone to like find what works. So I just press the button. It's a bit old, but it just operates like that. It's really cool, it's really gimmicky, and this is one of the many reasons why I won't remove it, because it's just super cool. So you want to know what sparked the fire of what got me into drifting, what made me think as a kid, that's what I want to do when I grow up. As cliche as it sounds, watching Initial D, the anime, as a kid, that was what spurred me on to eventually buy my first drift car. So the whole anime surrounding Initial D is about this guy called Takumi Fujiwara. He works at a tofu shop with his father, and he, at the young age, I think 13, 14, was delivering tofu across the mountain in a Toyota Corolla A86 Teruno. And it just cycles round and round of him approaching other cars on this mountain pass, and he then raced these other cars in like an impromptu street race up the mountains of Akina. It just spurred me on to start watching drifting videos of multiple tracks in Japan, like researching into what's like the best drift car to buy, where's the best place to drift, like the whole fundamentals of how even to control a car in a drift. And yeah, it all started from watching the anime. To then watch back the footage of you drifting, and it's just you seeing your car operating on that pendulum and just sliding about. It's so cool. It's awesome to watch. It's a surreal experience in the car because it's so loud. You're up in the revs, you're spinning around. It's just really crazy. It's addictive. It's like the adrenaline, it is a drug. It, like, you get hooked on the feeling of going sideways, like the smell of the tires, the smell of the exhaust, the burnt fuel. It's just unhinged. There's no governing bodies telling you what route you can take or how fast you can go or how many cars you can have running simultaneously on your little route that you create on the street. So in that aspect, driving and drifting on the street is just so much more exciting because it's in the depths of midnight that we're out, so it's dark. It's also aesthetically pleasing as well because you've got just the street lights, the headlights, and all you see is, when you're watching from a side, is just drift cars passing you at like 50 miles an hour, and you see a blur of headlights and tail lights, and you have multiple cars in tandem, and it's just such a rush. And even just talking about it now gets me excited, because you just I don't even know how to put it into words. It's just so much fun.